What's up? I'm Ayla,
I'm Beth Ann.
and this is Let's Talk BL, a Boys Love podcast.
Welcome back. Series Sunday, the day of the week where we talk all about one series and one series only. And y'all, if you thought Gen Y was chaotic, get ready because we are
I don't know if
talking.
we're gonna get chaotic. I
I
don't know if
think we
it's.
are. We pre-record like the pre to this recording was chaotic.
We'll see. We'll find out. I made like hot takes all around this
Yeah.
Sunday.
Well, guys, we're finally doing it. We're talking TharnType season 1 and 2.
Both seasons, all in one.
Yep.
So, before we get started, we just want to remind everyone that this is a series Sunday, which means we're only going to be talking about what is presented in the series, in the show. We know and we understand that there's a lot more in the novels. We know the story, we've heard them, we have read all of the stories ourselves. So, we understand there's so much more to unpack with the novels. But that's not what we're talking about. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to stick to what's in the show.
Yes. And we recognize that there's a lot to unpack in this show, and not all of the themes and depictions are 100% above board. But TharnType was so influential in BL culture and the community. It was a phenomenon. It's where I started in BL world because, man, no one can resist a good MewGulf edit, and that totally got me. So we are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about these excellent actors because let's be honest, like the casting for these shows
Yes,
is
the
why these
casting
shows
in this
are these
world,
shows.
like in the whole, like
Definitely.
overall, like TharnType world,
100%.
is outstanding.
100%. It's so
So
good.
let's get down to the basics, the details, as we always do. TharnType season 1 was 12 episodes. It aired on Lion TV, came out 2019/2020 if you're including right like special eps and things like that. Which was we'll talk about the special episode, but so 2019/2020. Of course, our titular characters are important here. We have Mew Supasit, who played Tarn, and Gulf Kaownah, who played Type.
Love
Yes,
of my life. Both of them.
love.
They're so good. Okay, let's do this. Y'all, there's a Wikipedia page about this show, but I pulled this from uh, another source. So here we go. Type Tawat is a handsome freshman with a passion for football and spicy food. Although he's a friendly boy, he hates gay people because in his childhood he is molested by a man. His life turns upside down when the new academic year of college brings along a charismatic roommate, Tarn Kiragun. Tarn is a gorgeous, compassionate music major who is also openly gay. When Type learns this, he is determined to make Tarn leave the dorm as he won't live with a gay person. I've been gay. Tarn is equally determined not to give in to Type's homophobic tantrums. Truly the best description.
I love this description, and it hits on all of the like good main themes.
Okay, wait, let me finish. With a gay guy and a homophobic guy that have to share a small space together for the rest of the year, what could possibly be the outcome of their story? Hatred or maybe love? This was incredible.
Maybe love. Hilarious.
Insane.
Okay, so the very first thing that I want to start with is I actually want to start with how the show starts. Like we're going to start from the beginning because I didn't realize this until I was like thinking about this show again for this episode.
Yeah.
Because TharnType was very early in my like BL career, as it was for most people, right?
Especially if you are friends with me, because I needed to talk to someone about this show.
Well, no, you held it back from me because like you specifically showed me like tons of other stuff before, and I remember we had a conversation. You were like, I don't know if I should show you TharnType. Like you really were trying to not show me TharnType. And I specifically was like, well, now I want to watch it. Like if you don't want to show it to me, like now we got to see it.
I sent you a ton of MewGulf stuff before like you got into BLs because I was like, look at these cute boys. And like, maybe she'll forget like the roller coaster ride that is this show.
I don't
That
even know if
like
I like, would we call it a roller coaster ride? Like, truly,
100%.
I feel like it's a little bit not predictable, but like tropey. It is tropey.
Yes, which makes it like truly a BL phenomenon because it uses like every trope, but you love it and you like are fascinated by it.
Yeah, I don't know that I would say I love TharnType. I think I would say it's a formative experience
It is.
in like your BL like journey, career, whatever you want to call it. And so again, I want to start my very first just like comment is I was thinking about the show and I was like, okay, what do I
That's
talk about?
wonderful.
Like what are the main points?
Yeah.
Because like this episode can't be 5 hours long, although could we easily talk about the show for 5 hours?
100%.
For sure. But like episode can't be 5 hours long. So like what are my like main hits that like I got to talk about? And like obviously, I'm going to talk about Techno because I truly feel in my heart of hearts that Techno is actually the best character in the whole like TharnType universe. Like in the universe, as far as the shows have been made.
Yeah.
Techno. And specifically, when I say TharnType, I am talking about Techno in TharnType. So not Techno in like Love by Chance.
But funny enough, like he as a character is very one-dimensional. Like you get no backstory, you get no information.
There's
However,
not
mild,
but the personality, yes.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, like we got a hit on Techno as played by Mild.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about like all the Techno moments and I'm thinking through the show and like, of course, like we're going to get into the like up and gay, right? Like what, because that sticks in your brain. Like it's
100%.
probably the first bit of tie that most people learn. Yeah. But so anyways, so I'm thinking about the show and I'm like, hang on. Did Techno actually start the drama?
100%.
I'm pretty sure Techno is the whole reason. As much as Techno, like, throughout the show is like, you should leave him alone. He's not a bad guy. And like, Techno is basically on Tarn's side the whole time. Type is the bitch that started it all. Or not Type. Techno is the bitch that's yes, Techno is the bitch that started it all because he fully is like running literally through the university. This is how the show starts.
Totally.
He's like running through the university. He's panting.
After Type has been like, I love my roommate. He's wonderful, but I hate gays.
And the whole time it's like flashing. Oh, the whole time he's like giving this that Type is giving this description about how much he loves Tarn as like he's such a cool guy. Like maybe he'll help me get chicks. Like right. So like the whole time it's like flashing over to Techno running over to the locker room, and he gets to the locker room and it's like the most ridiculous scene because he's like hands on his knees, like doubled over. He's like panting and he's like, Type, did you know that your roommate is, and there's like a dramatic pause and he's like, gay. Like it is the most ridiculous thing, first of all, that anybody would tell someone else. Like, why do you need to bring it up? Especially if you know that your friend is homophobic. Like, why would you invite that just like negativity into their life? But also, it's the most ridiculous way to tell someone. So like, let's say you do have a friend who's homophobic. First of all, like rethink your friends if that's your situation. But like, okay, maybe you're in this position and you find out that that their roommate is gay and you feel an urge for some reason to tell them,
to out them,
to discuss. Well, I mean, he was publicly out as a character, I guess. Like he wasn't right.
He wasn't like screaming from the rooftops, like
right. Well, but also if you just like for whatever reason take it upon yourself to like discuss someone else's sexuality, regardless of whether or not they're out, like first of all, that's a weird impulse, and you should think about that. But why is this the manner in which you would present that information? Like, why not when you're like hanging out at the library or you've like gone out for lunch and you're just like, hey, by the way, like I heard this thing. Why would you run across campus and be like, did you know he was gay. Like that's literally what happened. It's insane. It's ridiculous. And that was the moment when I'm thinking through like I was thinking about the show and I was like, Techno's the bitch that started this whole thing.
He's the Gretchen Wieners.
Well, so here my question about so Techno as a character in the show, we don't, like you mentioned, he's one-dimensional for the most part. Like we don't get a lot of like backstory, like we don't get like inner monologue for him, none of that. Yeah. So like my question for Techno as a character in the show is like, did he start this drama purposely because he kind of had a feeling that Type, like, you know, and so he was like trying to like do a little like reverse psychology, like, because he like maybe he had been hearing Type be like, my roommate's amazing, he's like the best guy in the world, and he's like putting also, 2 and 2 together. And so it like I'm like, is Techno that bitch starting the drama to like, you know, like pull like a little now kiss situation, or like is Techno just like a shameless gossip? I don't know. And you'll never know. And that's almost the genius about the show is like you get to decide. It's like a choose your own Techno adventure.
So speaking of discussing someone's sexuality, I wonder at what point Techno realized he was gay, because in the second season, spoiler alert, Techno has a boyfriend. And so that's what I wonder if like.
But you don't meet him in the show. So again, we understand you're introduced to his boyfriend in the novel. We're not here to discuss his relationship. Also, you find out about like Techno and his boyfriend in Love by Chance, but that though it's in the same world, it's not, or though it's the same universe, it's not the same world. Because they replace the actors, right? So like it's a different same universe, different world. Anyways, so
but like going on your theories, like I wonder if he was like, oh, maybe if like Type works through his issues with this random gay, then he will be okay with me eventually.
So you think he's like the potentially like the antithesis to Long, right? The like less toxic, like literally, like is he the anti-Satan, right? Like, does this make Long the Antichrist? Like, yes, is my like personal opinion.
Now that we brought up Long, okay, let me just say, Kaownah is an actor that
Kaownah is an actor. Kaownah is an actor. Listen, yes,
here's the thing, you guys, is you and I refer to these people as different things behind the scenes, as everybody does. But to be respectful in the general public platforms, we're calling them actors because we respect them.
What do we call them? I don't know what you're talking about.
Kaownah is perfect, and he's
okay. Now I can't. We're gonna have to talk about this after. I don't know. I don't want to pause recording because it's not our vibe.
No.
Okay.
Anyways, Kaownah is wonderful because literally you forget about the fact that
you forget that he was Long, which is crazy.
I don't know about you, but the entire show, I don't see it coming. Like I don't see
I was
it coming.
Shook it. And I thought in the beginning, I was like, oh, it's because it's so early. Like maybe I would have seen this twist coming had I watched it.
I totally knew like the first episode this was gonna
usually
happen.
I do know the twist, to be fair. Usually I do know. But with this one, I genuinely think even if I watched it for the first time yesterday, I wouldn't have seen it coming. Genuinely.
I mean, like how could you? Like the details are insane.
And the way it gets unpacked is like you find out. So first you're like, okay, he's sabotaging his relationship with Type. And you're like, okay, like he sucks and he's like a bad friend.
Right.
But then as it continues to unpack, it's just like you still don't see the twists coming. Like you don't see the turn. It's wild to me.
Wild. Okay.
But okay, here's the thing. Here's what I would say about like Long and Kaownah.
Yeah.
Is that like Kaownah is a wonderful actor. And therefore, like he plays Long so convincingly, and just like so Kaownah as like a human being that is separate from his character like he's precious to me. His blush game is always on point. I have mad respect for him. Long, the character, I want to put out there, like, flat out, will never, can never have retribution. Like it is literally impossible to have an arc after this. Like he is the Antichrist. And so it's super interesting, especially once we start getting into season 2. And then, like, if we start talking about the larger, like, TharnType world, which would include Don't Say No.
Yeah.
Long is very different from
and possibly
Fiat.
Why Are You?
Long is very different from Fiat. And we can get into that when we get into season 2, talking about season 2.
Yeah.
But, like, there are some very distinct differences there. So I just want to put that out there. But since we're talking about side characters, let's go ahead and introduce all the side characters. There are a lot, and they're awesome. So we've already talked about Mild, who we love, who is truly the world's most precious human.
Love him.
So Mild plays Techno, and then, of course, Long is played by Kaownah. And then you've got Champ, who we love, Boat, and Boat has a new thing coming out. This is not the time or place, but Boat is Champ. And then you have Tong, who plays Tarn's brother. And then we get to my favorite side couple, like, to be completely honest with you, maybe out of any BL, because this side couple is actually, like, this was the only thing you used as a selling point for TharnType for me when you were like trying to intro it to me.
I was like, please forgive literally everything that the show is about except for this cute little Korean side couple.
Yes, you were like, you're gonna love it. Like, that was the selling point. It wasn't like MewGulf. It wasn't anything else that happened. You were like, okay, you're gonna like this show because of these people. So they're near and dear to my heart. And truly, I did love the show because of these people. And I just love these people.
For the, like, 2 seconds that they get.
Yeah, they're amazing. So is played by Run, and then Kui is played by Mawin. And truly, when I tell you,
they kill it. For the, like, 2 minutes a piece that they get of their scenes, they absolutely kill it.
Here's the thing. They give off, the two of them together, like, these characters give off the most chaotic vibe, which, like, if you're this far into this episode, like, you understand that's our brand. So, like, the chaos of just, like, the listening through the wall of the fighting and, like, him being so, and what I like about it, again, this is something that I didn't realize until I started thinking about the show again for this episode. So I was like, they're two sides to the same coin, which, like, makes them so sweet together and, like, perfect for each other. Is, like, because the whole setup is that So is, like, into K-dramas and, like, Korean culture and things like that. And so, like, literally one of the world's best scenes, he's watching a K-drama, and I mean, we've all been there. He literally is like, Oppa, no. And it's so relatable. And he's, like, so engrossed in this K-drama. And Kui is like, you're crazy. Like, my roommate is weird, right? Like, he very much just, like, doesn't get it. But then his K-drama is actually TharnType, right? Like, he's basically watching the BL because he's listening through the wall the whole time. Like, he's a viewer. So, like, he is the other side of the coin, which, like,
so meta.
Love it.
I love
Here for it.
Yeah, I especially love the part that I got that I was like, oh my god, Ayla's gonna love this, was when So confesses and he's like, Juae.
Yeah, when he's like, Juae. Yeah, he's like, I like you in Korean.
They're so good. I'm so glad that they brought them back for season 2. Solid. Can't wait to get to talk to that storyline.
So season 1, if we're still talking, besides just talking about these boys and the chaos, there are a few just sort of, like, interesting things. And again, we're not talking about, like, the, quite frankly, problematic bits. But I think
not standing on any moral high ground fully for me.
That this is not the time or place for that discussion, mostly because if it's just the two of us, it can't really be, like, a community-wide discussion, which is what it deserves to have. So anyways, what I really liked the first time I watched it and still sticks out to me like all this time later, is the way that Tarn handles specifically like Type's brand of homophobia, in the sense that he literally, like, when Type like marches into the room and he's like, "Are you gay?" Right? And like is all like mad and angry about it.
Yeah.
And he tells him, and Tarn is like, "Yeah." Like, because he's out, so he's just like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, you have," and so Type tells him, "You have to move out." And that's like a whole, it's a big, like, it drives the plot at the beginning. Because it's like he's going to search for a new roommate and he's trying to get Tarn to like move out of the room by terrorizing him. But like one of the first things that Tarn says to him after Type's like, "You need to move out," is he basically says, and this is not a word for word quote, but he basically says to him, he's like, "I'm not going to move out because if you have a problem with me being gay, like that's your problem. Like I don't have a problem with you being straight, and I don't have a problem with my own sexuality. So like, why should I move if you're the one that has the problem? Like I don't have a problem with you." And that, like, I really like the way he handles that situation.
Totally. One of my favorite moments, you're gonna die, is truly the fact that Type offers to sleep with Tarn for the first time because he doesn't want to owe him.
Yeah, because like he
totally
took care of him while he was sick.
BL trope, check,
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's only once.
Yeah. I just like these tropes are just so good because you're just like, this boy hates this boy so much that like the love fest that will kind of eventually ensue because it's Type and he is so grumpy. And like, again, praise to Gulf, because that is like the sweetest, most precious bunny in the entire world in real life, that like he plays grumpy so well. That is,
here's what's so crazy about Gulf, and just like, I don't know, this show, despite literally anything and everything in this world, this show will always have a very special place in my heart because it really, like, Gulf is what got me into like BL boy culture, right? Like being interested in like not just the show and the plots in the show, but also in like these actors and all of the extra stuff that they do, and the singing and the dancing and the fan meets and like all of the like, and the ad campaigns, right? Like all of the other just like stuff that these actors do. Like that, the person that got me into this world was Gulf. And which is so funny because so like I Type drives me up the wall, dude. He drives me bananas. In any BL I watch, the grumpy ones, the ones that are literally always in a bad mood, drive me crazy. I'm like, how do you have friends? Like, it must be exhausting to be in a bad mood every day of your life. And Type is just literally always in a bad mood. Like, to the point where I'm like, you are not fun or engaging to me as a character because you're in such a bad mood all the time. Like, I straight up, even after they like got together and like whatever, still did not like Type as a character. Like, I am not a fan of Type. But I love Gulf, and I like pretty immediately like, and I remember you being kind of shocked because you were always more of like you leaned more Mew if we were talking about MewGulf.
Totally.
And I was like, no. Like I was like, him, that one. And what really like stuck it for me, what really just like made it be the thing, was Missing Baby. Yes, dude. Which like is so funny because like
it will be played on repeat at Ayla's funeral. I will
make
that happen.
Because poor Gulf, listen, I love him truly, deeply, madly, with all my heart. He's not a musician. That's fair. Dude, it's fine. I'm not a like
I will buy everything that he puts out, but yes, no, he's
so the fact that Missing Baby is the thing that got me, and then here's the kicker, is like I had watched Love Mechanics prior
Yeah.
to my like missing baby awakening, and I hated Love Mechanics. It like I was like, this is so bad. But the thing that I remembered from Love Mechanics was I thought Mark's character was like a bad bitch, right? Like I was like, okay, Mark. That was the only thing I liked about Love Mechanics. But I didn't connect the fact that like War was Mark. And so like when I saw War in Missing Baby, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I was like, obviously watching Missing Baby obsessively, as you do. If you don't like, I still to this day watch Missing Baby like at least once a week. I don't know. Like I will sit there and watch the video to give my brain a boost of serotonin.
I love it.
And so I pretty quickly realized I started caring less and less about looking at Gulf and more about looking at the other boy whose name I didn't like really comprehend.
Yeah.
And then I discovered Boyfriends and all the concert footage. And now y'all know I always live on that war agenda. It always comes back to war on that war agenda. It's been too long since I've said this. Okay. So for that reason, love Gulf.
To wrap up season 1, I want to talk about the families, which leads into the special episode, because the families in this show are so interesting. Like you get so much of their family that like I don't feel like you get in most other shows. Like they kind of develop.
You kind of do in like Until We Meet Again. I think Until We Meet Again is the only comparable in terms of just like volume of family.
Right. Because they are like all characters. Like there's no other characters. They're just the characters are the family.
Well, to the point where you've got like cousins, which also comes in.
Yeah, we're not talking about Until We Meet Again.
Okay, well, hold on, because I'm realizing.
Oh, good.
That you have like cousins that come into play in Until We Meet Again, which like the world's best cousin, Peace In, which is like famously John Awake. And then of course we have John in season 2. So I will have my moment to talk about John, don't worry. Anyways.
Type's grumpiness, he comes by it honestly, because let's be honest, like his dad is grumpy senior. And just like the moments that they have, all of it, like the special episode is probably one of my favorites, because like there's a redemption story a little bit for Type with like his best friend from high school or from back home, and where he like finally like comes out to his dad and he's like, you got to get on board with this boy because he's wonderful, and the mom being like super sweet. So yeah, but then what's sweet is you have like the flip side where you have Tarn's family being just like the cutest, because you have Thana played by Becky, and then you have his brother.
Is Becky Tana in the special episode? Like, has she already grown up? I just can't remember. Or is it not Becky until season 2?
I think it's Becky the whole series, isn't it?
No, there's no way, because the little girl in the first season's like a child, like a legitimate child. Because it's 7 years later. So she's aged 7 years. Like there's no way it was Becky both times.
I mean, Becky's
it's some other small child in the first season. But like, let's be honest, the Tana that matters is Becky.
Yeah. So anyways.
And then you have Tong.
Yeah. Who plays.
And Tong's great.
Sweet little getting married in the first season. Like, love it. All of it.
Or second. Does he get married in the second season?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The family I like can't keep straight. We haven't even talked about that like one random boy that was friends with Tarn and like tries to come between them, but like doesn't actually. And there's like
this was not a random boy. This was like actually
Tong's
a very
best friend. That's who it was.
Whose best friend?
It was Tong's best friend.
Oh, you're talking about that random boy.
Why he's connected.
Oh, right. Well, that happens in season 2.
It was the other random boy.
Well, that's what I was saying is like, if you're talking about Tarn's ex-boyfriend from season 1, like that's not a random boy. That's actually like integral to the plot boy.
Yeah, but I feel like he comes in randomly through the season and then like dips out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because
And then
Long takes over, let's be
right.
honest.
Well, and they set up that like Type becomes friends with him after they figure out what Long has done, and like he's super integral to the plot, but he's only in like I want to say three or four episodes. I thought that's who you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking about.
Doesn't he show up like the first episode of season 2 too?
I don't remember if he's actually in the episode, but they do like set up that Type is still like like they're friends, they're buds now, which I think is really cute.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah. So like Type's brother's friend that pops up in season 2 though. That's not a season 1 pop up. That's a season 2.
Wait, who?
Tarn's brother's friend, who's like trying to get or faking getting between them for the purposes of trying to make Gulf like live his life publicly, supposedly, according to the plot.
No, that's season 1. Because season 2 is like you have Tarn going to do his music thing. You have the whole Fiat thing.
Oh, yeah. Fiat is the breakthrough boy. Okay, yeah.
Is like is Type's the first half of the second season is Type's whole like homophobic
hospital situation. Yes. Okay. True. Yeah.
Which is in like side note, literally all of those like doctor boys, like his little posse, like come on, y'all.
But anyway, season 1, I hated that little side boy because I thought that he was really like for multiple reasons. Number one, his like the backstory that they gave on like his connection to Tarn, where he like kind of like forced Tarn into like I did not love that whole like backstory.
He was a top. That's what that story was.
I did not love that whole like that whole dynamic between the two of them. And then also I didn't appreciate him being like, I was just trying to help you like live your life openly. Like, nah, bro.
Nobody needs that.
But it's interesting. I am always so curious to see who likes Type's dad. Because I hate him. He's awful. He's so like annoying. Terribly homophobic. He's super mean.
Thorn.
And the only way
character's name is Thorn, side note. Sorry.
Yeah. So and the only way that like his dad that Type's dad ends up accepting Tarn is like due to his sexual attraction to his little sister, which weird. I hate. And he like honestly he's just straight up homophobic, and they try and like present it as if it's like a funny cute thing, and it's right. It's not a funny cute thing. So I actually really hate Type's dad, and I don't understand why like he gets so much like leeway.
Very strange. Side note, there were quite a few guest actors in season 1 that are like big in the BL world, and you had Saint because of like the Love by Chance connection. You have Saint, you have Mean, who else do we have? So it's like that was the other thing, because I got into BLs via Why Are You first.
Right, I forgot that Why Are You. Listen, that explains a lot about you as a person. That's how you should like start introducing yourself to people. Like, yeah, I got into BL because of Why Are You.
Okay,
100%. Like, if whatever judgments you're making about Beth Ann right now that you've heard this,
true.
Accurate,
and I own them. I don't care. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, I am single, full stop. So I live vicariously through the shows that I watch. And if that tells you anything, there you go. Judge me. I don't care. I am who I am.
Does it make you yearn for it?
Oh my gosh.
I hate that show so much. I hate that show so much.
I feel like that scene had a bigger impact on you than it did on me.
Because I was okay. This is not a Why Are You Serious Sunday. We can move on. Okay, let's move on to season 2. So yeah, season 2
has some good spice in it. Speaking of living vicariously through a show,
I mean, none of us will ever look at a kitchen in the same way,
or a car.
Or a bathroom.
Or a shower.
This show, I swear to
It's
God. Okay, anyways,
incredible.
season 2, 7 Years of Love. It's set 7 years later. There are 12 episodes. It's online TV. It came out 2020/2021. There is a special episode at the end. So,
Okay.
synopsis.
Yes.
Type
Get to it.
and Tarn have been together for 7 years and both are enjoying their mostly harmonious life. They do still bicker and meet up with university friends. Now both working adults, Type and Tarn face difficult issues. Fiat. As they learn that life isn't always just flowers and candles. Can they overcome their challenges or will they be defeated by them?
Side note, I really liked the first kind of half of this season because it was mainly about like their work issues and their grown-up life because
Mhm.
the whole first season is like relationship drama
The
and
whole
like
first season is Type having
crazy.
meltdowns over Tarn being gay. It's literally
So,
just him running around screaming, "Up and gay!" for
so
like,
like even if Type wasn't actually matured yet, at least he was like a grown up with a big boy job and like living with his long-term boyfriend and I will say if couples therapy would is warranted, like this would be the situation where like Tarn should have been like, "Hey boo, like let's go to therapy because you got a lot of things to work through." Like if anything, Tarn should be the one that's like working through some stuff, but he's like emotionally mature and like figuring it out, kind of.
so I will say I did love what was interesting about season 2 is that like it, yeah, the whole kind of first half centers around Type not being willing to like still tell people that he's dating a man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he turns into like the sassiest, most confident
Yeah.
gay when he goes to like confront the girl at the restaurant. The girl that works for Tarn's family's company has
Yeah.
decided that she's like gonna get with Tarn for what? Oh, it's because his brother. It's because Thorn gets engaged and he's gonna get married. And so
Yeah.
you see the whole plot of her be like texting her friend, being like, "I guess this brother's out of the running. I'm gonna get the other brother."
Sounds
And like,
familiar.
what's funny is that like yeah, Type finds out and he immediately like switches to like the world's most confident gay and like
It's so
hair
good.
flip and like dramatically throws the sheet over in the restaurant and like
Oh,
he's got the sunglasses
but
on. I
yeah,
love this scene so much.
so
He's got
good.
the sunglasses on and he walks in and he's like, and he takes the sunglasses off and he basically looks at her so and he's like he doesn't say this but he's like, so you're the bitch. And I love it and I'm obsessed with it, but then alternately he like refuses to tell anyone that he's dating Tarn still.
So my understanding is that like he just doesn't want to like announce it to the world is what his excuse is for them not getting married. Like it's not
Right.
that like he's not out to like probably everybody in his life. It's that like his like big concern is that because Mew's family is of the status that he is, like even though or sorry, Tarn, even though like they're at the status that he is, like Tarn's family fully owns their son. Type is like, I don't want to tarnish your family's reputation. And you're
That's
like,
like his excuse for sure.
so
Also,
silly.
you find out later in this season, like when he goes to do, I was about to say enlist, but no, when he goes to do his monkhood,
Yeah,
that like he is concerned about the fact that like he's under the impression that he could never give his parents like grandchildren.
right.
And so like that's why he's like, I can at least do this one thing for them.
Yeah,
So he's concerned about that. But what's interesting is like he has a pretty close friend at the hospital that he works at.
yeah. The
The
girl.
the fun lady. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
she's so cute. I love her.
yeah.
And like they're pretty close friends. They tell like they set it up that they're
Your
pretty close
work
friends and then
friend.
you see it. But
Right.
they're like that's like your best work friend, right? Who like typically your best work friend knows stuff about you and so she's like he never he he says he has a special someone, but he never really
Right.
confirms that he's in like a serious relationship that like
Yeah.
he's lived with someone for the past
Yeah.
7 years.
7 years.
And then like she asks him multiple times about it, and he just like refuses to acknowledge, even acknowledge the relationship, much less say that it's Tarn and it's a man and all this, right? Like, and so that's what's weird about it, is that like he simultaneously is like sassy enough to go yell at this girl who like potentially works for the company and could go like, if really what he's worried about is Tarn's family's reputation, like she could go like talk about it to the media or post it on social, and he's like confident enough to like roll in there and be like, that's my man, but like he's not gonna tell his friends about it. Like that's sus to me. I don't love that.
Type has a lot of character to develop.
Well, and here's the other problem with Type's whole situation in season 2. Okay, first of all, like we all know they're gonna make up. Like this was kind of like a pointless season for me personally. I was like,
obviously, because you are not like fully obsessed with MewGulf, like
but basically what I'm saying is like when they broke up,
a vehicle for MewGulf to make out.
That's what I'm saying is like when TharnType broke up, I was like, they're getting back together. Like all of the drama in the middle is unnecessary. Like I understand.
We just have to get through this season for the special episode. Like that's all we're doing.
Right. And I get that it's a vehicle for that kitchen scene, for that bathroom scene, for that car scene, right? Like I get that it's a vehicle for that. And like, when it pops up on my Explore feed, like, we allow it. I don't click the like no longer show these, right? Like, but that being said, yes, you're correct. For me, it's more about the plot. And so the whole time I was annoyed because I was like, this is the most useless plot of all time, except for in retrospect.
Insane. Okay, wait, let's talk
JaFirst.
Let's talk side characters, but let's start like at the beginning. So we still have So and Kui, which is adorable.
And So is in Korea. Okay, for the first part of the season, he's in Korea. He's being a trainee. He's living his best trainee life. I'm dying to know like what agencies he auditioned for. Where was he a trainee? I'm dying. I have some theories.
Kills this character.
Run
is
is
so good,
perfect and amazing.
When he comes back and they have their moment. Side note: you should definitely watch Second Chance the series because this couple shows up again.
Yes, this different characters, but the same.
Their chemistry is so solid.
Anyways, Kui has had like a whole glow up also, right? Like he is like beautiful now and he's like an influencer and he sells like, I think t-shirts on the internet, like on Instagram. I'm not exactly sure. He sells something. Essentially, he's like a beautiful boy on the internet and that's how he makes money now, which like more power to you, my dude.
Solid.
I'd pay for his TikTok, to be honest with you. Like I follow him on TikTok as like an actor. I follow Mawin and like,
he's a good time.
If he was in a situation where he was like, my TikTok is premium only, you have to pay for it, like I'd be like, okay, you can have my $1.99. Like, yes.
Also they live in the same building, which is so funny. Of all the buildings in Bangkok, all these boys end up in the same building.
Because we also have another side couple that gets introduced that also lives in the building.
Who are really actually adorable, and I would 100% love to see them in their own show.
I'm dying. So from what I understand, there is like a novelization. They do have their own story. And so potentially like there's not a 0% chance it could happen as a show, but
I would love to see this because it's Pugun played by Title and Sir played by Hai.
And Pugun, when I tell you this boy has me wrapped around his finger, I cannot with this kid. And he's Mew's cousin. And so we've got the introduction of like a cousin, which I'm here for the complicated family trees, as in until we meet again, Stan. Like,
but can I say, like, and this is just a BL trope that like crosses all cultures, the creepy, like, bestie cousins who try to play this like I'm gonna threaten your boyfriend, and y'all, you're cousins, like you're not a real
threat. They don't really do that. They do that. It's like bio mission, right? It's like bio mission.
He says I have a boyfriend. It's like no, you're related. Like that's not why you're not a threat. Like because Tarn says I have a boyfriend. You should
Right.
meet
That's what I
him.
mean is
You're
it's like it's by omission, right? Like yes, they're cousins, but also he has a boyfriend. Like there's both. So it's like a by omission thing, which I agree is weird.
It's so silly. But yeah, they're like a fun little fluffy, and they like get like
Title is precious.
They get a pretty well developed storyline.
Yeah, they get a good
I
storyline.
enjoy them. Okay,
And then of
let's get to the
course,
side couple that's like the side couple of all side couples.
In retrospect, dude, okay,
this is truly something that zero people saw coming.
I know
Nobody.
no one. There have been a couple comments on our TikTok. They're like, I always liked Fiat. And like, did you? Or are you just saying that? Or here's the question though. Did you always like First? Because if that's your situation,
who doesn't love First?
I believe you. I am of the opinion that First should win like an Academy Award for his portrayal of Fiat. Like somebody needs to write the Academy and get him nominated, even though this is like so old. I guess okay, I'm gonna like crowdsource. Like we all need to get together and like write a nomination for like First portrayal of Fiat for Don't Say No. You have to be a member of the Academy. If anybody who's a member of the Academy is listening,
but we could start our own campaign because they campaign for these actors.
Billboard. Okay, yeah, because you know how like the billboards go up in LA, right? And they send screeners, like DVD screeners. I will financially invest in this because I swear to you, I truly in my heart of hearts believe that Fiat deserves an Academy Award, although I understand that's just for movies. Sure. First should win. First should win literally any and every award, including an Academy Award for his portrayal of Fiat, because
if you have not watched the casting videos of season 2, truly the JaFirst casting video is mind-blowing. They nail those characters from like day one.
From the second they sit down next to each other. It is wild. Anyways, so I believe that First deserves 800 million awards. Like truly
right.
This boy is a genius because I hated him with every fiber of my being. And I was the person that was watching season 2 that was like, this is a dumb plot. I know they're getting back together. Like this storytelling is garbage.
And
like,
you were fully like, I'm never going to watch Don't Say No. Ever.
I did, because even though I sat there watching 7 Years of Love being like, all of these plot devices are trash, like just like real harsh on it. Even going into it with that, First plays Fiat so well that I hated Fiat with every fiber of my being. Like my whole life was screaming that I hated Fiat so much to the point where I, by extension, hated First because he was so good at Fiat. And like that's what gives him a leg over Kaownah as Long, is that like even though Kaownah does such a great job with Long, I can separate the two. First did such a good job with Fiat in season 2 in 7 Years of Love that like I couldn't even separate the two. It was kind of like insane.
Me with Kyle and Terrence.
Yeah, with Game Boys with you. Yeah. Right. Totally. So same thing. So I have no words for how impressed I am with First with his portrayal of Fiat in retrospect.
Solid
and
prior.
So like, here's the thing.
You're gonna be okay. Y'all, war has some competition.
Peace in. The wig lives in my heart. Okay, my heart will go on for this wig.
The fact that so many people don't connect Ja from Until We Meet Again to Ja of TharnType season 2 is wild.
And Don't Say No. I'm finding a lot of people that don't realize.
Right, because he looks like 35 in Until We Meet Again, and then he goes back to being 20.
Also, he's supposed to be way older than everyone else. He's like already graduated college and Until We Meet Again.
It's the wig.
shirtless half the time. It's like, and there's a wig situation and the glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, peace in. Anyways, so
there's nothing wrong with your computer or speakers or whatever you're listening. Ayla just had a moment thinking about peace in.
Here's the deal with Ja. Here's the deal with Ja. Okay, we don't have enough time to talk about Ja just in a single episode.
No, we don't.
But Leo in TharnType season 2, dude, he sucks. He's the Earth's worst.
He's such a coward. He's a coward.
And okay, can we just talk about this whole setup that they play on Fiat to teach him a lesson, quote unquote? I'm sorry, I clearly hated Fiat, but no one deserves that. That was truly the worst of the worst, to the point where it made me not like Type. I already didn't like Type because he's so grumpy and oh my god, get over yourself. But
especially given what we
and then Techno is involved with it, which is very disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay, I hated that whole we're gonna teach Fiat a lesson thing, but particularly due to Leo's involvement in it, because
right.
Type doing it whatever, it was a bad move, but yeah, Fiat caused a lot of personal troubles for him. Also, fully kissed him on the mouth. I think a lot of people forget that. I forget sometimes. I'm wait, there is a whole they actually kiss, which is unique in BL because in BL, if you're not paired with someone, there's a lot of camera angles or implied kisses or even in if you think about Theory of Love with Afghan, the whole basis of Off's character is he's a ladies' man, and you literally see him in bed with girls, but he never kisses them. So that's why I was shook. I was oh my god. But so I kind of understand. I mean, I don't understand. It was a really horrible, awful thing to do to somebody, but Type and his friends' involvement. What really, really bothered me was Leo's involvement, because that's your best friend who you are in love with.
Yeah.
And you understand where he came from and all of his baggage, and you Leo knows the story that we are learning in Don't Say No.
Right.
And he still does this to him. And so I don't care how hard it, and Leo has been trying to get through to Fiat, you can't be acting this way, you can't be doing this, blah blah blah, since he shows back up on the scene during 7 Years of Love.
Right.
But I don't care if you can't get through to him, whatever, you don't do that to someone. I hated that. But that being said, literally Josh shows up literally a prince. Truly, his whole storyline is he's a prince in a fairy tale. He literally shows up from a faraway land to save him. He's this, Leo's whole thing, and just Ja's whole thing. And now that we have Don't Say No, y'all, when I tell you,
go watch Don't Say No, because it is mind-blowing how good it is.
The character development. So we will do a series Sunday for Don't Say No when it's over. But I think it's really important, if I were in a position where I were watching season 2 for the first time, or I was talking to somebody who is about to watch season 2 for the first time, I would tell them, pay more attention to Leo specifically, because I think it's really easy to get distracted by Fiat, because again, first actor of the year, King of My Heart, Academy Award nominated by Let's Talk BL.
It's the little ones. The little ones you got to watch out for.
He's amazing. First does an amazing job with Fiat. And so because he does such a good job, I think it's really easy to miss a lot of Ja's complexity as Leo in season 2. So I wish on my first watch that I had paid more attention to Leo specifically, despite the fact that I don't like how he behaved. I wish I would have paid more attention to their dynamic together now, knowing what I know and being as deep into Don't Say No as I am.
Yeah. Go watch Don't Say No. It's incredible. Side note, the last side character that we should probably talk about is Doc Champ. Because They are truly the most precious, solid couple.
And we were robbed. We
We
were
were so
robbed, people.
robbed. I also want a side story.
I really, really want Doc Champ. Like it
So
it hurts my heart that we didn't get more development of that. But honestly, Champ I think might be the least problematic character in the whole TharnType universe. I'm pretty sure. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think Champ is the least problematic out of all of them in the whole universe. And he's wonderful. And like he's just and he never feels bad or weird about his feelings for Doc, which like he sort of discovers those feelings in 7 Years of Love.
Yeah.
Because like Doc has always had feelings for Champ. And so that's the dynamic of like their relationship is like Doc is in a mistake on his part getting advice from Type about this. Like, why? That is the wrong person to go to. But he's essentially pursuing Champ, and Champ, like in a classic BL trope, doesn't get it. Like he doesn't see it until like Doc just like full out tells him. And that's when Champ kind of like realizes, again in another BL trope, that like, oh, like I miss you when you're not here, and I, like all of the things where he like has his realization that he has feelings for this boy. And what I love about Champ is he doesn't shy away from them. Like what he does is he tells him like, I need time to keep developing these feelings. He's like, I do have feelings, but they need to be more developed. And like,
you just like want to hug Doc through the whole thing. Like he is just like the most precious.
And
like,
he's so supportive.
He's so supportive. He's like, I like you, but like I want to respect your process, and like,
well, and Doc is the reason that Type like essentially gets his job. Like he doesn't have like a black stain on his career because of what goes down with his boss. Like Doc saves him. Yeah, Doc Champ are a great side couple.
So the like ending of this show, of this whole thing, is like their wedding. Type goes into monkhood, which I really loved seeing because we get a lot of cultural things, with school and that kind of thing, but the monkhood stuff we don't see a lot. And a lot of these actors went through that like as teenagers, or like when you turn 18, I think
a lot of them do it at different points, and and my understanding is like there are different ways and opportunities to do it.
Gotcha.
But a lot of these actors that we love do this as a part of like their religion and their culture. And we don't, so often it's like the joke that like every university student in Thailand is either a medical student or an engineering student, right? It's like even though we are being exposed to this new culture and we're learning so much about it, and it is a great way to get to know a new culture, we're exposed to such like a tiny incremental piece of it that I think it was really nice that we got to see something that plays such a big part in Thai culture and has like personally affected these actors that we all love, right? Like Mew did it, right? Like in his real life, like Mew did it. Tae Tawan has done it. Tool has done it. Like there are lots and like the list is far too long for me to remember off the top of my head. So I think it's super cool that they showed it and that they explain like the cutting of the hair and like all of the things that go into it. It was, I liked it. I know a lot of people take the opportunity to like joke and laugh and are like, but like, no, like it's a part of the culture that you're learning about. I don't know.
And then they of course end with their wedding, which,
which does happen despite all of the drama and all of the things that they try and make you believe it's not going to happen. It happens.
So when we talked, I forget which episode it was, but I 100% would love to bring back these characters just for Type having a kid.
Oh my god. It's not canon. It's not canon. Stop talking about it.
I don't care. here.
Listen,
I
I
still don't
understand that
care.
you and Techno together are like big TharnType child enthusiasts because Techno makes a comment during 7 Years of Love where he
Uh-huh.
talks about their kid. He's like, when
Oh,
you guys have a kid, no.
so
Like,
good.
you and
Love it.
Techno can be on your like TharnType child agenda, but I'm telling you, it's not canon and it's not going to happen.
Oh,
Get over it.
so good. Yeah. So this show overall, it's funny because after I first watched it, I was living with one of my gay best friends and I was like, I need you to watch this show with me, if only for a couple of episodes, just to like talk me through what's happening here. Because I was like, I'm so curious as to like a gay man's perspective on this show and just
Right.
everybody's perspective on this show because everyone has a different opinion, everyone has a different thought. And I think that's what's cool about really just BLs in general, but the BLs that like take over, it's so interesting to hear kind of what people enjoy, what they don't enjoy, like but everyone has seen this show and everyone has an opinion about it. And it's interesting to hear whether or not like their opinions that should be spoken out loud sometimes. You're like, I don't know. But yeah, MewGulf will always have an incredibly special place in my heart. The amount of hours I have logged watching MewGulf content is endless, and I don't regret any of it because I was in lockdown and that's what I did.
So, do you think that so I know you started with Why Are You, which makes so much sense. But like, okay, let's pretend like for whatever reason you didn't discover TarnType until like recently, right? Like post lockdown, post all of that, right? Like let's
Yeah.
say you didn't discover TarnType until very, very recently. Do you think you still would have been sucked into like the MewGulf experience? Or do you think it was a byproduct of like time at home, right? Like being just like singular and
Right.
locked down and, like,
Well,
because okay, if you think about it, here's the thing. TarnType was such a phenomenon. We mentioned this at the
yeah.
beginning, right? And it truly like I would say kicked off this like renaissance of or really kind of like first wave of like true international appreciation for BL.
Right.
Like so many people talk about their experiences of like, well, I got into BL during lockdown. And
Yeah.
like and that is around the time that like Line TV started blowing up and all of the views started getting really, really high. And like it all sort of centered around, and you hear these stories over and over again as like, I found BL during quarantine. And it
Yeah.
just so happened that like that was when TarnType came out, right? So like
Yeah.
that was the thing to watch. And so I'm so curious to know if like was TarnType such a phenomenon because it was like the thing to watch during quarantine, or is it truly that special on its own?
I think MewGulf are truly that special on their own.
Okay.
Because I came into it after season 1, right before season 2. So I did get to experience this whole phenomenon as it was happening through season 2 at least, cuz obviously season 1 was like the bigger deal. But
Mhm.
I of course then watched like literally all the other big ones like Sodas and Together
Right.
and Theory of Love, and like none of those couples really did it for me quite like MewGulf did. So, as someone like the same thing with XO, like I got into XO like a year ago and was fully just like obsessed with all of it and would probably have been like, and I was, just because like it's after the fact, they're not at like their pinnacle anymore, but I still was captivated just like watching the videos and all that kind of stuff. I think it was just a natural progression. Like every every time I tell someone like this is what we're doing, they're like not surprised. I talked to a friend of mine actually today from San Francisco, and I was like, "Let me tell you about what I started doing." And he was like, "That makes so much sense for you." I was like, "I know."
Versus me,
So,
I literally tell no one about this podcast, and like to the point where like I think I've told this story before. My
you
little
have.
brother found it and he like sent me a text message like, you have a podcast about Japanese erotica? Like, I just literally tell no one. And then it's almost worse for me because then they'll like accidentally find it and be like,
they're confused. It's so true. So yeah, I just think like.
So you think you would still be into MewGulf if you like just discovered them yesterday?
Yeah, for sure. Because I still go on like occasional MewGulf rabbit holes like you do. I was going down 3 will be
like,
3 rabbit hole tonight.
I think there are just so many different like flavors of MewGulf stan. Because I agree with you. I think MewGulf is just special as a pairing, right? Like there is something to be said for like that perfect chemistry. Like some couples have it.
The assignment.
So, yes, and it's more than just understanding the assignment. It's just like there's a little bit of magic there, right? Like Kahoy and Elijah of Game Boys are a great example of this. Like there's just something about it that goes beyond chemistry, that goes beyond them understanding their characters and them understanding the BL assignment. And it's just like it's just magic, to borrow a phrase from like Direct Junlana from Game Boys, is that like, and I think MewGulf has that, is like it goes beyond them just like doing a good job at their profession. There's just that spark of magic there with MewGulf. So I agree with you. I think that MewGulf are special, but like for me, they're not the couple that I go back and watch. Like weird. I don't know if it's weird. Well, like for me,
I know this about you. Who's the couple that you like go
watch? If I'm watching a couple, right? So like I'm big on like my individual boys.
Right. That's why I don't think I know this.
I talk about it sometimes.
Oh, wait, let me see if I can guess.
Yeah. I want you to try and guess.
Like I literally can't even, because I talk about couples all the time.
Right. And I'm more of like an individual boy because I'm big on like the music and the like all the extra stuff they do that they're not necessarily doing together.
Is it Bilk and Pee?
No, although that's a good guess, but no. I do enjoy it. I mostly, if I'm like searching Bilk and Pee, it's because I want to watch Pee like being mean to Bilk. I really like that dynamic where he just like really makes Bilkin mad. But no, if I'm just like going down the couple rabbit hole, no, because Yinwar are just fun friends, and I appreciate their chemistry and like the dynamic they have going on. They entertain me. But if I'm like searching up like comps, like compilations, right? Like you get on YouTube and you're like,
wait, is it Max Tull?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, who is it? I'm so. Why do I not know this?
I mention it every now and then, like as an aside. And usually what happens is it ends up taking me down my individual boy rabbit holes, which the individual boy that it always leads me to is off. And then I fall down my off rabbit hole, which like happens to me very frequently.
Is it Taenu?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Taenu, for whatever reason, is like my couple. So even though I think that like MewGulf is magic and they have that little bit of magic, I think that like for me personally, if I was just discovering TharnType yesterday, right? It was like for whatever reason really late in my BL journey.
In general.
Right. Well, not BLs in general, but like I'm like specifically TharnType. If instead of it being at the beginning of my journey and instead was like at the end, I don't think it would hold as special a place in my heart, even though I think that MewGulf are magic.
Interesting.
Because MewGulf, although I think that they are like, again, I've said a million times, amazing. For me, they're not the couple that I'm like getting on YouTube and searching the comps. Like the couple that sticks in my brain that I'm like, I just feel like watching a couple like be a couple. Yeah, I'm typing in Taenu.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Maybe we need to go back and redo the ships episode and unpack, like, because I don't think when we did the ships episode, you had really like found your ship. Like we were
just talking about ships in general, right? Yeah, we weren't really talking about like the intricacies of
what boys you want to watch on YouTube incessantly.
Well, just like them being together. Another one that always like surprises me is like I actually really like Chris Singto. Like specifically as a couple, because what's weird about that one is them separately don't like, I like both of them separately. Sinto is precious in my heart, but like they're the exception of I prefer the boys individually because like I follow both of them and I appreciate them and I like them, but I don't love them until they're together.
That's so interesting. Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Anyways,
MewGulf, this is TharnType, MewGulf, every single person in this show, especially huge shout out to Mild, who kind of carries the show, to be honest with you. Like, he is the constant. He is the constant. So
he's the actual fun friend.
Mild, like
I know. I would love to talk to Mild.
Mawin.
I would love to talk to Mild and be like, so you literally have no character development, but you're the character that we constantly talk about. Tell us about that.
Yeah, anytime I go on like a tangent, I now call it a Techno Talk. Feel free to like take that and use it yourself. I don't care. Like I frequently am like, thank you for coming to my Techno Talk.
So good.
Yeah, I want to talk to Mild because I want to ask him about Red Wine Dark Night.
I need to rewatch that because I don't remember any of it.
And then also just like every actor in this show does a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what made it such a phenomenon, is that it wasn't just MewGulf making magic. It was Mild.
The casting is mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was Mild. It was Boat. It was Tong. It was Becky. It was Kaownah. It was Run. It was Mawin. It was JaFirst, dude. JaFirst.
Also, like with this show, that's the other thing. So the same thing is true in K-pop, where if there's a ton of content, like you just get more sucked in.
I mean, that's how GOT7 got me, is like I watched one GOT7 video and then like when it auto plays at the end, the videos just don't stop. And so you just like, okay.
Totally. And so the amount of like content that we get from like the whole just like magical story of how like Mew got cast and like the moment that he and Gulf had.
And that workshop footage.
I mean, like all of it, just like, and also like go look at the photos from the casting of season 1 and season 2, because you'll see the boys that they didn't pick. And it's wild because like they show up in other shows that you're like,
y'all, Win from Tosara auditioned for TharnType. I didn't find out about this until recently because we were doing some like really scientific research about how tall Ja is for science. And so like the number one scientific method for figuring out a boy's height is to go compare him standing next to boys whose heights you do know.
And they don't often stand in a straight line.
Right. So obviously you have to do some like scientific research, some like
which is
deep
why it's
dives.
An important question that we ask in our interviews.
Yeah. And so like for obvious reasons, we had to like really look into how tall Ja was. Which by the way, okay, no, never mind. It's not worth it. We can't. So we found that like all of these pictures from season 1 casting, and when I saw that picture, do
you think he was?
I'm gonna have to remember to like link it in the like description for this episode, because I was like, Win? Stage confession, cringy, like Tosara Win auditioned. I'm pretty sure he auditioned for Type.
Wild. One day.
And so a lot of these boys, I just pulled up the picture because I was like, I have to look at this again. I mean, like Fiat is there first.
Oh Smart.
First auditioned not for Fiat, right? Like he came back to audition again, and then he found his job.
Again,
Anyways.
Props to the casting director in this.
Truly solid. The casting, it's like, honestly, I'm so glad I found this picture, because seeing Win standing in this line, just like I would love to talk to Win. Because like now that I know he auditioned for TharnType, but just like, okay, the point is the foresight of these casting directors for looking at Gulf at the time. This is like pre-glow up Gulf. Not that he needed much of a glow up.
He was
but
precious, but like he wasn't type precious.
And at the time, Mew didn't. Mew has also had a glow up. Like, just call it what it is. Let's just call it. It's that rich boy glow up. Okay, it's that we made some TharnType money glow up.
I get that K-beauty now for sure.
It's that chip sponsorship. Like, I don't have to do anything besides sell ACs glow up.
100%.
But so like the foresight of looking at out of all the boys that auditioned for Type to look at Gulf, who hadn't acted in anything before, and be like, that's the one.
He did a school project, which you should go watch because it's on YouTube and it's pretty amazing.
But he hadn't done anything like profesh.
Yeah.
Right. And so like the foresight of that, and just like plucking somebody like Mild, who kind of like, he had already been in stuff, and he kind of had this like reputation for being like the like kind of funny one, but like if you're watching a demo reel or whatever that includes clips from Red Wine Dark Knight, and you're like, yeah, him, like, mad respect. Respect. It's just like, I am blown away by the quality of the casting in this show.
So good. Okay, if you've made it this far, props to you.
Not that long. It's 2 whole seasons worth of shows. Come on, give it to us.
I'm so excited to look at the stats for this episode, because I'm sure the like average listen time, we're probably gonna go
30
like
seconds.
Yeah, we're gonna go like almost an hour 20, and the average like listen time is gonna be like 5 minutes.
5 seconds. No. So last but most certainly not least, if you enjoy TharnType, and if you enjoy side characters in TharnType, tune in on Wednesday.
Yes. Oh, so good. As usual, thank you for listening. Make sure you follow on all our socials. We are Let's Talk BL. Rate, review, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. This is Let's Talk BL.